And gentlemen, in the next 10 minutes, I invite you to press pause on the noise, distractions, and rush of life, and open your eyes to truths that many of us overlook every single day. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. Every minute you breathe is a gift. We live as though we have unlimited time. But what if today was your last? Would you have lived differently, loved more openly, forgiven more quickly? You are more powerful than you believe. Most people don't realize the strength within them. You've survived your hardest days. You've conquered what you once thought would break you. You're not weak. You're still here. That means something. Social media is not reality. Those perfect lives you scroll past, carefully curated illusions. Real life is messy, imperfect, raw, and beautiful in its authenticity. Don't trade your truth for someone else's filter. Success without purpose is empty. You can chase money, titles, and fame, but if your life lacks meaning, it will all feel hollow. Purpose gives your story weight. It's what makes every challenge worth it. You are the average of the people you surround yourself with. Look around you. Who speaks into your life? Do they uplift you or drain you? Energy is contagious. Choose your circle with intention. Your comfort zone is not your friend. Growth never happens in safety. If you're not scared, you're not evolving. That discomfort you feel when taking a leap, that's the sign you're on the right path. Forgiveness is freedom. Hanging on to bitterness only poisons you. They deserve it, but because you deserve peace, time is the most valuable currency. Spend it wisely. You can always make more money, but you'll never get back today. Prioritize moments over materials, people over possessions. Comparison is the thief of joy. Your journey is yours alone. When you measure your worth against others, you rob yourself of gratitude. You're not behind. You're on your own timeline. You already have enough to be happy. We often search endlessly for what we already possess. Gratitude opens your eyes to the abundance in your life. Right now, in this moment, you're enough. So I ask you, what will you do with this awakening? Will you drift back into routine, or will you let this truth shake you up, change you, push you to live more fully? Time is the one thing we all share, and yet it's the one thing we all waste the most. We go through life under the illusion that there will always be more of it. More time to fix broken relationships. More time to chase our dreams. More time to become the person we've always wanted to be. But the hard truth is, life is unpredictable. Tomorrow is not promised. And every day you wake up is a day some people never got. Many of us live as if we're invincible. We make plans for next year, next month, even next week, assuming we'll get there. We procrastinate on what truly matters, caught in routines that steal our energy and attention. We put off the things that bring us joy in favor of things that bring us temporary approval. We scroll through other people's lives instead of showing up fully for our own. Living with intention means waking up with purpose. It means asking yourself, what matters most today? And then aligning your actions with that answer. It's not about being perfect. It's not about achieving a constant state of productivity. About living on purpose instead of drifting through your days by default. Are you choosing your path, or are you letting it be chosen for you? Think about it. If this day, this very one, were your last, what would suddenly matter most to you? Would it be that email you didn't respond to? That awkward meeting you had? Or would it be the people you love, the memories you've made, the moments you missed because you thought you had time? Intention doesn't require a radical lifestyle change. It starts small. It begins with awareness of your choices, your habits, your priorities. It means doing less of what drains you and more of what fills you up. Saying no when you mean it. Saying yes to the things that scare you but grow you. Being present, truly present for the people who matter. When you start living each day as if it counts, because it does, you begin to experience life differently. Colors seem brighter. Conversations become deeper. Gratitude feels more natural. You realize that a full life isn't found in the big, grand events. It's built moment by moment, choice by choice. It's easy to forget your strength when life feels heavy. When challenges pile up, when the world seems indifferent to your struggle, when progress feels slow and setbacks feel endless, it's natural to question your ability to keep going. But let me remind you of something powerful. You have already survived every worst day of your life. Think about that. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every dark night you thought would never end, you made it through. And you didn't just survive. In some way you learned, you grew, and you carried on. Resilience isn't always loud. It's not about dramatic comebacks or bold declarations of strength. Often it's quiet. It's found in the moment you get out of bed despite the weight on your shoulders. In the decision to try again after failing. It's in the tears you wipe away in silence, the responsibilities you carry even when no one notices, and the hope you hold on to when the light at the end of the tunnel feels like a distant dream. Most people don't recognize their own power because they've been conditioned to associate strength with perfection. But real strength isn't about having it all together. It's about continuing to move forward even when everything inside you wants to give up. It's about choosing growth when staying the same feels safer. About rebuilding yourself over and over again, each time with more courage and clarity. You have faced battles that no one else knows about. Inner wars that left invisible scars, and yet, here you are. Still standing, still showing up, still trying. That is strength. That is resilience. It doesn't matter if you feel broken or tired or uncertain. What matters is that you haven't let those feelings stop you. Sometimes we think we have to wait for confidence or clarity to take action. But the truth is, action is what builds confidence. Each time you take a step despite fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Every small victory becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-belief. And over time, you begin to realize that you are far more powerful than you ever gave yourself credit for. Your strength is not determined by how much you can lift, by how much you've carried, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Your resilience is not defined by how often you fall, but by how many times you choose to rise. And every time you rise, you become a little stronger, a little wiser, or a little more unstoppable. You don't have to wait for someone else to validate your strength. Look at your journey. Look at everything you've overcome. That's your proof. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are a survivor, a fighter, a force of resilience wrapped in the skin of a human being. In today's world, it's almost impossible to go a single day without interacting with social media. Whether it's scrolling through Instagram, watching TikToks, checking updates on Facebook, or reading tweets, our screens have become a window into the lives of others. But what we so often forget is this: what you're seeing isn't reality. It's a highlight reel. Social media is a carefully curated showcase. People share their brightest moments, their most flattering photos, their greatest achievements. We see vacations, celebrations, smiling faces, perfect lighting, perfect bodies, perfect lives. But what we don't see, the arguments, the breakdowns, the insecurities, the loneliness, the debt, the pressure, is just as real. It's just hidden behind filters and captions designed to project an image rather than reveal the truth. And that illusion is dangerous. It makes you question your own life. You begin to compare your behind the scenes to someone else's polished premiere. You might feel like you're falling behind, like everyone else has it all figured out. Your life is dull or less worthy because it doesn't look like theirs. But what you're comparing isn't apples to apples. It's reality to illusion. It's depth to surface. People don't post their bad days. They don't post the moments when they feel unlovable, or when they cried themselves to sleep, or when they stared into space wondering what they're doing with their life. They don't show the arguments that happened 5 minutes before that happy couple selfie was taken. They don't share the anxiety attacks behind those living my best life vacation photos. What you're seeing is a single frame of a much longer, much messier story, and you only get the part they want you to see. And it's not just individuals, brands, influencers, even average users often use filters, editing apps, and lighting tricks to manipulate images. Our definition of beauty has become distorted. Our understanding of success has become skewed. Social media tells us we need to always be achieving, always be improving, always be more, and if we're not, then we're not enough. But real life isn't like that. Real life is raw, it's imperfect, it's filled with highs and lows, joy and sorrow, connection and confusion. It's the quiet moments, the mundane routines, the small wins, and the messy growth that rarely make it online. And those moments, unfiltered, unpolished, honest, are what truly shape us. Understanding this doesn't mean we have to give up social media completely, but it does mean we have to start seeing it for what it is, a tool, not a truth. A platform for expression, not a measure of worth. Okay to enjoy the beauty and creativity people share, but don't let it make you forget the beauty and worth of your own life, just as it is offline. Instead of measuring your life against someone else's feed, focus on what's real, your relationships, your journey, your growth, the parts of your story that no one else sees but matter deeply. Because in the end, those are the things that define you, not likes, not followers, not perfect pictures. We live in a time where validation often comes in the form of likes, shares, comments, and followers. The digital world has become not only a place to connect, but for many, a place to construct a version of life that is cleaner, sheenier, more exciting, and often far from the truth. While social media can be a beautiful platform for creativity, communication, and inspiration, we must never forget that what we see online is, more often than not, an edited version of reality. Every post is a decision about what to show, what to hide, what to exaggerate, and what to completely leave out. A smiling photo doesn't reveal the sadness behind it. A picture, perfect family portrait, doesn't disclose the tension or disconnection that might exist behind closed doors. A post about career success doesn't mention the burnout, anxiety, or moments of self-doubt that came along with it. And yet, these curated moments are what we consume daily, unconsciously holding them up as standards for our own lives. The danger lies not in the sharing itself, but in the comparison that follows. Without realizing it, we begin to measure our worth based on the digital versions of others. We compare our real, messy, complicated lives to someone's carefully filtered snapshot. We begin to question our value, our beauty, our progress, our choices, simply because someone else's life looks better through the lens of a well-edited post. Like comparing a movie trailer to the behind the scenes footage of your own life. One is polished for show. The other is the unfiltered, raw process of becoming. Social media is not inherently bad, but it becomes damaging when we forget that it is not the full story. It's a highlight reel. It's the 1% that people choose to share, not the 99% that they quietly live through. Nobody posts the panic attacks, the heartbreak that doesn't make sense, the loneliness that creeps in even when surrounded by people, the exhaustion from trying to appear okay when they're anything but. The likes you see don't always reflect genuine admiration or friendship. The followers someone has don't always equate to confidence or happiness. The aesthetic feed doesn't guarantee peace of mind. You could be envying someone who's silently battling demons you couldn't imagine, while they're envying the stability and simplicity in your life that you take for granted. Moreover, social media often rewards the extremes. The boldest, loudest, most controversial content gets the most attention. This can pressure people to post not what's authentic, but what's popular or performative. It encourages performance over presence, reaction over reflection. In chasing online validation, people sometimes lose touch with their real identity, becoming a brand rather than a being. There is also a quiet erosion of self-worth that occurs when we tie our self-esteem to online engagement. A post doesn't perform well, and suddenly we question if we're interesting, attractive, or relevant. We let algorithms shape our moods. We hand over our sense of fulfillment to the digital opinions of people we often don't even know. And while social media can be a platform for truth, vulnerability, and connection, we must use it consciously. We must remind ourselves and others that what we see is only ever a fraction of the full human experience, far richer and far more nuanced than anything we can capture in a caption or a 15-second video. Real life is in the moments no one sees, the quiet resilience, the private struggles, the growth no one applauds, the healing that happens slowly and silently. Understanding this truth doesn't mean rejecting social media, but rather approaching it with awareness. Recognizing the difference between appearance and authenticity is one of the most powerful ways to protect your mental health, your self-esteem, and your ability to live a life grounded in what is real. In a world obsessed with metrics, milestones, and material gain, success is often portrayed as the ultimate destination. We're taught from a young age to chase it. Graduate with honors, land a high-paying job, build a prestigious career, accumulate wealth, gain status, be admired. And yet countless people have reached the so-called top, only to feel an aching emptiness inside. Why? Because success without purpose is like climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall all along. Success, by society's standards, often focuses on external achievements. It's measured by how much money you make, how many accolades you receive, how popular you are, or how impressive your resume looks. But none of those things guarantee inner peace, joy, or fulfillment. You can have a corner office and feel like a stranger in your own life. You can drive the luxury car, wear the expensive watch, still go to bed with a void you can't explain. That's the cost of chasing success without asking why you're chasing it in the first place. Purpose is what gives success meaning. It's the reason behind what you do, the force that gives your life direction and your actions substance. Without it, even the most impressive accomplishments can feel hollow. Purpose is what connects your success to something bigger than yourself. Not about living a life that looks good on paper. It's about living a life that feels right in your soul. Some of the most miserable people in the world are, by all appearances, incredibly successful. Yet they wake up every day with dread, lacking the fire that purpose provides. Their lives are packed with productivity, but starved of passion. They do what they do because they've always done it, or because they're afraid of letting go of the image they've built. But deep down, they crave something more, something real, something that matters. Purpose doesn't always look dramatic or grand. It's not reserved for heroes, celebrities, or world changers. It can be found in the quietest of places, in raising children with love, in creating art that speaks truth, in helping others feel seen, in standing up for what's right, building something that improves even one person's life. Purpose is personal. It's the thing that, when you strip away the titles and trophies, still makes you feel proud of who you are and what you give to the world. You can chase goals all your life and still feel lost if those goals aren't rooted in something meaningful to you. That's why it's so important to define success on your own terms. What brings you alive? What are the values you won't compromise on? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Success without those answers is just motion without meaning, movement for the sake of movement. When you align your success with purpose, everything shifts. Your work becomes more than a job. It becomes a contribution. Your days feel fuller. Your choices feel clearer. You're not just ticking off boxes. You're building something that resonates with who you are and what you believe in. You may not always be the richest, the most followed, or the most praised, but you will be deeply fulfilled. What you're doing matters to you and often to others too. The truth is, purpose doesn't guarantee ease. In fact, it might lead you down harder paths, but it gives you the strength to keep going even when things get tough. You're not chasing someone else's definition of success. You're living a life that is aligned, intentional, and deeply rooted in what makes your soul feel alive. Immense pressure in today's world to have a clear plan, a defined path, and answers to every question about your future. From the time we're young, we're bombarded with the idea that we should know exactly who we are, what we want, where we're going, and how to get there. We're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Long before we've even figured out what brings us joy. We compare ourselves to others, and when we see them seemingly thriving, landing dream jobs, starting families, traveling the world, we begin to believe that we're somehow falling behind. But here's the truth, you don't need to have it all figured out. In fact, nobody truly does. Even the people who look like they have it all together are often just navigating life one uncertain step at a time. They may have figured out a few things, but that doesn't mean they aren't still growing, questioning, doubting, or evolving. Life is not a straight line with clear checkpoints. It's a winding, unpredictable journey full of detours, pauses, restarts, and unexpected opportunities. It's okay to feel lost sometimes. Okay to change your mind. It's okay to try something, realize it's not for you, and try something else. That isn't failure. It's growth. It's exploration. It's how you learn what aligns with who you truly are. Every experience, whether successful or disappointing, teaches you something valuable about yourself and the world around you. You don't need to have a 5-year plan to be making progress. You just need to be present, open, and willing to take the next right step, whatever that looks like today. One of the most damaging myths we tell ourselves is that we must have everything sorted out by a certain age. That if we haven't achieved specific milestones by 25, 30, or 40, we're somehow behind. But life isn't a race, it's a personal journey, and the timeline is different for everyone. Some people find their purpose at 18, others at 50. Some start over at 60 and create the best chapters of their lives well past what society considers the prime years. There is no deadline for becoming who you're meant to be. Letting go of the need to have it all figured out is freeing. It allows you to live in the moment, to embrace curiosity, to explore without shame or fear. It invites you to trust the process instead of trying to control every outcome. Teaches you that clarity often comes after action, not before. You discover more about yourself by doing than by overthinking. And sometimes the most beautiful, meaningful things in life arise from moments of uncertainty. The chance encounter, the spontaneous decision, the leap of faith. Not having it all figured out doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're human. It means you're in the middle of becoming, and becoming is messy, nonlinear, and often uncomfortable. But it is also powerful, sacred, and uniquely yours. You are not supposed to know everything right now. You're supposed to live, to learn, to fail, to try again, to grow, and through that process, the path reveals itself piece by piece. So when you feel unsure, when the future feels blurry, when everyone else seems to be running while you're standing still, take a breath. Remind yourself that not having all the answers is not a weakness. It's an invitation. An invitation to stay curious, to keep seeking, to remain open to who you're becoming, because clarity will come, not all at once, and not always in the way you expect. But it will come in its own time, in its own way. There's a voice that creeps in, quietly but consistently, whispering that you're late. That you should be further along by now. That everyone else is ahead of you. That you've somehow missed your chance, failed to meet the invisible deadlines, or fallen off the track that leads to success. Whether it's career milestones, relationships, financial goals, or personal growth, voice has a way of making you feel like you're in a race you're losing. A race you never agreed to be in. But here's the truth that too many people forget. You are not behind in life. There is no universal timeline, no perfect age to do things, no calendar that determines your worth based on how quickly you tick off boxes that society deems important. Life is not a checklist, is not a sequence of events that must happen at a specific time in a specific order. It is a deeply personal, ever-evolving journey, and your path is valid. Even if it doesn't look like anyone else's. The illusion of being behind is amplified by comparison. Social media, in particular, offers a constant stream of curated lives. People posting engagement announcements, new homes, promotions, travel adventures, perfect families, and highlight reels that can make your own life feel small, stagnant, or lacking. But what you're comparing yourself to isn't the full story. It's a filtered fragment. You don't see the struggles behind the smiles, the doubts behind the wins, or the pressure behind the polish. You're measuring your real life against someone else's edited moment. and that comparison is never fair. The idea that there's a single right time for everything is not only false, it's harmful. It makes people rush into things they're not ready for or feel shame for taking their time. Some people fall in love at 20, others find their person at 50. Some people discover their passion in college, others stumble into it after decades of searching. Some people thrive in structured paths, others build lives of meaning through unexpected detours. No expiration date on becoming who you're meant to be. Just because someone else's chapter looks different from yours doesn't mean you're off track. Maybe your journey is unfolding in ways you can't yet understand. Maybe the delays are preparing you. Maybe the pause is where the growth is happening. Sometimes, the most important parts of your development don't come with outward achievements. They come in the quiet, internal moments of reflection, resilience, and healing. And those moments matter just as much, if not more, than the visible milestones. It's easy to count what you don't have yet. But what about what you've learned? What you've survived? What you've grown through? What you've built within yourself? That kind of progress isn't always celebrated, but it is deeply significant. You're not behind. You're on a unique journey that is still unfolding. The timing of your life is not a mistake. You are not missing out. You are not late. You are becoming, at your own pace, in your own way, on a timeline that is yours and yours alone. Some paths are slow and winding. Some start later than others. Some are interrupted by pain, grief, change, or uncertainty. But none of that makes you behind. It makes you human. It means you're living a life that is real and evolving. It means your story is still being written and that there is more ahead, more growth, more connection, more joy, more meaning, waiting to unfold exactly when it's meant to. Every single day, we experience thousands of thoughts, some intentional, some automatic, many uninvited. They drift in and out of our minds, shaped by our past, our fears, our insecurities, our environment, and our emotions. And yet, we often treat them as absolute truth. A negative thought arises, I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. They don't care about me. I'm a failure. And without questioning it, we believe it, internalize it. We act on it. And we let it shape how we see ourselves, others, and the world. But the reality is this: your thoughts are not always facts. Just because a thought feels true doesn't mean it is true. The mind has a tendency to latch onto patterns, especially those rooted in fear or self-doubt. It wants to protect you by anticipating danger, predicting failure, or warning you of rejection. But in doing so, often amplifies negativity. It leans toward the worst-case scenario. It catastrophizes. It brings up the past and convinces you that it's a prediction of the future. It criticizes your actions, your worth, and even your very identity. And unless we're aware, we absorb all of that as fact. This is especially true during moments of stress, anxiety, or vulnerability. When we're emotionally overwhelmed, our minds can become unreliable narrators. We might misinterpret someone's silence as judgment. We might take a small mistake and spin it into a reflection of our entire value. We might believe we're unlovable, broken, or incapable, when in reality we're simply tired or navigating something difficult. These thoughts may sound convincing, they may feel urgent, but they are not necessarily accurate. Learning to recognize the difference between thoughts and facts is one of the most powerful tools for emotional resilience. It means developing the ability to pause and reflect rather than react automatically. It means asking, thought helpful? Is it kind? Is it based on evidence or assumption? Would I say this to someone I love? So often, we speak to ourselves in ways we'd never speak to anyone else. We accept harsh self-criticism as normal, when in fact it's deeply damaging. We all have internal narratives, and many of them were formed in childhood or early adulthood. Through our experiences, our upbringing, the feedback we received, or the trauma we endured. Narratives can become so ingrained that we don't even realize we're telling ourselves a story. But stories can be edited. They can be rewritten. You don't have to be a prisoner of your own mind. You can learn to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. Mindfulness, journaling, therapy, and self-awareness practices can help create that space to see your thoughts as just that mental events, not objective truths. Thoughts pass through like clouds in the sky or leaves in a stream. Some are helpful and empowering, others are misleading, harmful, or outdated. The goal is not to silence your mind or stop thinking altogether. It's to develop a wise relationship with your thoughts. One where you are the observer, not the victim. When you begin to challenge your thoughts, you begin to free yourself from false beliefs. You begin to see that feeling inadequate doesn't mean you are. That worrying about failure doesn't mean you will fail. That imagining rejection doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. You begin to take back the narrative, replacing harshness with compassion, fear with curiosity, judgment with understanding. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, patience, and courage. But over time, empowers you to live more fully, more authentically, and more freely, because you're no longer trapped by every anxious, critical, or fearful thought that comes your way. You begin to trust yourself, not because your mind is always quiet, but because you know how to meet your thoughts with discernment, compassion, and truth. We often imagine healing, whether emotional, mental, or physical, as a straight, predictable path. We expect that once we begin the journey, things will steadily get better. We believe there should be constant progress, that each day should feel lighter, that wounds should close cleanly with time. But healing rarely works like that. In truth, healing is messy, complex, and profoundly non-linear. It doesn't move in a straight line, and it certainly doesn't follow a schedule. There will be days when you feel strong, capable, and hopeful. Days when you believe you're finally moving on, breaking through, rising above. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, a wave of sadness crashes over you. A memory resurfaces. A trigger pulls you back into pain you thought you'd outgrown. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like you failed, like you're back at square one. But you're not. You are simply in the ebb and flow of a very natural, very human process. Healing is not about erasing the pain or forgetting what hurt you. It's about learning how to carry it differently, how to live with it without letting it control you. It's about integrating your experiences, not avoiding them. You can't rush or force healing. It unfolds in its own time, often in layers. Sometimes, just when you think you've moved past something, life reveals a deeper level that still needs attention. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're evolving. Grief, trauma, heartbreak, and disappointment don't follow linear paths. They come in cycles, waves, seasons. Some days feel like progress. Others feel like relapse. Every step, forward, backward, or still, is part of the journey. Even setbacks serve a purpose. They bring awareness to what still needs care. They remind you that healing is not a destination, but a lifelong process of self-understanding, acceptance, and growth. It's also important to recognize that healing looks different for everyone. For some, it's quiet and internal. For others, it's loud and visible. Some heal through therapy, some through art, movement, community, or solitude. Some take years, others feel transformation in moments. There is no right way to heal, just your way. And that way will change, just as you do. Part of embracing non-linear healing is learning to be gentle with yourself, to stop judging your process, to let go of the pressure to be over it, or to explain your pain to others in a way that makes sense to them. Your journey is not a performance. You are allowed to have hard days. You are allowed to revisit pain. You are allowed to feel like you're unraveling even as you're growing. Because healing isn't about perfection. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you feel like you're not making progress. And sometimes the most profound healing comes not from fixing anything, but from learning to sit with your broken pieces and love them anyway, from realizing that healing isn't the removal of pain, the expansion of your capacity to hold it with tenderness and strength, from discovering that you can feel hurt and whole at the same time, that you can grieve what was lost while still building something new, something beautiful. In its place, one of the most empowering and difficult truths in life is this: how others treat you often reflects what you allow, what you accept, and what you communicate through your own behavior and boundaries. We sometimes assume that respect, kindness, or consideration are things we passively receive from others. But in reality, they are often things we actively teach others to give, through what we tolerate, what we speak up about, and what we make clear we deserve. It doesn't mean you are to blame for the hurtful things others do. Never. But it does mean you have more agency than you may realize in shaping the dynamics around you. Every time you ignore a red flag, laugh off a hurtful comment, or overextend yourself to keep the peace, you are subtly signaling that this treatment is acceptable. And over time, those small moments of silence or self-abandonment add up, teaching others that your needs are secondary or even invisible. Setting boundaries is not about being harsh or cold. It's about being clear, honest, and respectful of yourself. When you stand up for your needs, when you say no without guilt, when you express discomfort instead of burying it, you are showing others how to engage with you in a healthy, respectful way. You're saying, I matter. My time, my energy, my emotional well-being are not up for negotiation. And the people who truly care about you will not be threatened by those boundaries. They will honor them. On the flip side, when you continually sacrifice your needs to avoid conflict, when you stay quiet to keep the peace, when you allow others to cross lines repeatedly without consequence, you're not just keeping things calm. You're setting a standard. You're showing others that they can expect you to bend, to over-give, to endure mistreatment without resistance. And eventually, those patterns become cycles, difficult to break, but not impossible. Concept applies to all areas of life, relationships, friendships, work environments, even family dynamics. Whether you're being taken for granted, spoken to harshly, or constantly asked to carry more than your share, the way you respond teaches others what's acceptable. When you show up with self-respect, when you walk away from disrespect, when you hold people accountable, you shift the energy. You create space for healthier interactions, not just for yourself, but for others too. But teaching people how to treat you also requires knowing your own worth. You can't advocate for yourself if you don't believe you deserve better. Self-respect is the foundation of boundaries. It's the inner voice that says, even if it makes others uncomfortable, I will not abandon myself. It's the quiet strength that reminds you that being liked is not more important than being respected. That keeping someone in your life is not worth sacrificing your peace. Doesn't mean you need to be confrontational or rigid. It means being intentional. It means showing up in relationships with clarity, knowing what you're willing to give and what you're not willing to compromise. It means trusting that it's okay to let go of people who repeatedly show they cannot or will not meet you at the level of care, effort, or respect you deserve. Not everyone will treat you well, but you always have a say in who gets close to you and how they are allowed to show up in your space. Teaching others how to treat you isn't about controlling them, about taking responsibility for the energy you allow into your life. It's about refusing to shrink to appease or to perform just to be accepted. You deserve to be treated with dignity, with kindness, care, not because you've earned it through perfection or people-pleasing, but because you exist, and that is enough. There are countless moments in life when you might feel invisible, when it seems like your existence is small, your actions go unnoticed, your words go unheard, and your impact feels minimal at best. It's in these quiet, uncertain times that the mind starts whispering dangerous lies. I don't matter. I'm replaceable. I'm not making a difference. But the truth, the deep and powerful truth, is this: your presence matters more than you know. You may not always see the ripple effect of your life, but it's there. Every act of kindness you've shown, whether it was a smile to a stranger, a late-night message to a friend in need, a word of encouragement to someone doubting themselves, has left a mark. Even the smallest moments of care, empathy, and attention have the potential to change someone's entire day. and sometimes their life. You don't have to save the world to be meaningful. Sometimes just being there, really there, for someone is more than enough. Think about the times you were held together by someone else's presence. A gentle word during a hard time, someone simply sitting with you in silence, or a kind gesture when you were too broken to ask for help. Often, those people didn't realize they were saving you. They were just being themselves. In the same way, you have likely been that person for someone else without even realizing it. Your story, your energy, your lived experiences, these things shape and enrich the spaces you move through. You bring something into the world that no one else can replicate. Not because you're perfect, but because you are you. Your laughter, your insight, your perspective, your unique combination of strengths and flaws, these are not just background details. They're vital threads in the fabric of the relationships and communities you're a part of. Too often, we measure our worth in grand achievements or public recognition. We wait for awards, titles, applause, forgetting that meaning is often found in the unseen. The comfort you bring to a friend by simply being someone who listens. Consistency you offer in a chaotic world. The way you show up over and over again even when no one claps. That presence, the quiet, steady beingness of you is more impactful than you may ever fully grasp. And your presence isn't only for others. It's meaningful to the very fabric of your life. Every breath you take, every challenge you face, every truth you uncover, every step you make toward becoming more of who you are, it all matters. You matter not just for what you do, but for who you are. Even on the days when you feel like you're falling apart, even when you're lost, struggling, or unsure of your path, your existence itself holds value. You are part of someone's memory, someone's safe space, someone's motivation. You've made someone laugh when they needed it. You've inspired someone by being brave when you didn't even know they were watching. You've offered love, support, presence. Perhaps in moments you've long forgotten, but that someone else still carries with them. There will always be days when doubt creeps in, when you question your worth or wonder what purpose you serve. If you could see yourself through the eyes of those you've touched, if you could truly witness the echoes of your presence, you'd understand something profound. You have already mattered many times over. You have already changed lives just by being here, and you continue to do so, even now, in ways both seen and unseen. Let everything you've heard settle in your heart, not just as ideas, but as invitations. Invitations to see the world differently, to see yourself differently. Because in just 10 minutes, you've been reminded of truths that many people go their whole lives without hearing, that your mind can lie to you. That healing doesn't happen in a straight line, that your worth is not dependent on your productivity or perfection, that your thoughts aren't facts, that boundaries are love, that your presence, quiet, flawed, real, matters more than you'll ever fully realize. You don't need to become someone else to be enough. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect before you give yourself permission to live, to feel, to be. Most eye-opening 10 minutes of your life aren't about learning something new. They're about remembering what's always been true, that you are worthy, you are seen, and you are not alone. Now go forward, not to be perfect, to be present, not to chase greatness, but to honor your truth, because your life, just as it is today, holds more power, beauty, and potential than you've been told.